Today we are cooking stuffed shrimp skillet with Cajun rice. This is an excellent dish for Mother's Day. So we're going to start out with about, I don't know, maybe 20 large shrimp that's been deveined and butterflied. And then we're going to move on to our vegetables, which is a fourth of a cup of finely chopped celery along with the leaves. Also, a half a cup of red onion or shallots, a fourth of a cup of chopped garlic, bell pepper, a fourth of a cup. I'm using orange for this dish, and we also want to keep the leaves of the celery. We're going to use those as garnish later. Here we have a can of white crab meat. You could also opt for lump crab meat as well, and a cup of cooked rice. Here we have a chicken liver that I have cooked and cut up in small pieces, and one andouille sausage link that I've cut. Now here I'm just going too fast for the ingredients, but I'll list all of the spices that I used in the description box. So next what we're going to do is we are going to devein these shrimp and we're going to butterfly them. So I actually purchased a bag of deveined shrimp, but as you can see, there's still a vein at the bottom of the shrimp, and I don't want to use that. So here what I'm doing is I'm cutting into the shrimp from the top where they've already deveined it. I'm opening it up, and you can see that vein there. And I'm just taking the tip of my knife and I'm going to pull it out just like that. So now it is fully deveined and it's butterflied. I'm going to do another one so I can show you. Now the bed of the shrimp that's flattened, that's what we're going to use for our stuffing. So here, once again, I'm just cutting down to the middle, and I'm locating the vein and I'm just pulling it out. Now we've added some olive oil to the pan, and we're going to saute our vegetables. Here we're going to use the roughly chopped red onion. We're also going to add some of the chopped garlic, and we're going to saute this until it's transparent. We're also going to add a little bit of the orange bell pepper as well. So our vegetables are now translucent. Now we're going to add in our chicken livers, and we're going to add in our andouille sausage. Now both of these items are fully cooked, so we're just going to warm them through and allow the vegetables to incorporate with the meat and infuse the flavor in the pan. Here we're just adding in a pat of butter, and we're mixing all of that together. This is going to be what we're going to use for our rice. So our butter has now melted pretty much. I'm adding in a fourth a cup of water, And to that, I'm going to add in my cup of cooked rice. We're going to mix that around, let all the flavors get infused and incorporated in the skillet. Now, everything in the skillet is pretty much done. We just need to add some additional seasoning. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add some of the Cajun or Creole seasoning, some garlic salt, some onion powder, some poultry seasoning, a little bit of cayenne pepper, a little bit of white salt, and a little bit of black pepper. And then you can taste it to see if it meets your standards as far as seasoning, and adjust your seasoning as needed. So here I have added some more olive oil to another skillet, and I'm adding the remainder of my vegetables, and we are going to use this particular batch of vegetables for our Cajun rice. So here in this skillet is onion, garlic, bell pepper, and celery. And this is one of my favorite pans. My grandmother gave it to me. I don't know where she got it from. It's like a griddle on one side, and the other side is a frying pan, and I absolutely love it. No sticking. I love this pan. So here we're just making sure that they're frying or they're cooking until they're translucent. Now we're adding in our crab meat. Here we're adding in our seasoning, which is a fourth of a teaspoon of celery salt. We're going to also add in a teaspoon of the Creole seasoning. We're going to add in the pepper, the garlic salt, the garlic powder, onion salt, and poultry seasoning. And we're going to mix that in, get it well incorporated. I'm going to taste it and make sure that I don't need a little bit of, any more seasoning to adjust. There, I added in some whole cumin seeds and I just rubbed them together to release the oils. And I added that to the mix as well. Then I added in 2 pats of butter. And we're going to mix that in together. And I'm adding in that butter for moisture because I'm going to add in my breadcrumbs. And so I don't want my breadcrumbs to be too dry. And I don't want them to be too wet. So that butter is adding in a little bit of flavor. And it's also adding in the moisture. So I started out with a half of a cup of breadcrumbs, but I didn't actually use all of that. I actually only used a fourth of a cup. But as you can see here, I'm adding it a little bit at a time because I'm looking for the right consistency. And here my fire is on low. It doesn't look like it because my camera is so close to the pan, but my fire is on low because I don't want it to brown too much. So this is our Cajun stuffing that we're going to use for our shrimp. And here I'm just making sure it's well incorporated. And I'm going back to off camera. I'm going to taste it for seasoning, and as you should, and then just adjust with whatever you think is needed or whatever's missing. My stuffing mix is just about ready. I'm just adjusting the seasoning. I'm going to turn it off, put it in a bowl, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator to cool off until we're ready for it. Now we're moving on to our cream sauce, which is going to be a light buttery lemon cream sauce with a little Cajun spice. So here I've dropped in about a tablespoon of butter, and I'm going to let that butter melt. And then I'm going to add in a fourth a cup of heavy cream. Now, I think I used about maybe about 3/4 of a cup in total, but I added in a fourth cup at a time. So here's my first addition, and I'm just incorporating it into the butter, and this is my second batch, which is another fourth of a cup. And it looks like, once again, it looks like my fire is really hot, but it's really not. It's on about low to medium. Okay, so here I'm taking a tablespoon of our hollandaise mix, just a tablespoon, and I'm adding it to the buttercream sauce. And I'm whisking it around really well because I don't want any lumps. I want it to be nice and smooth. So here I'm using my whisk, my flat whisk, and I'm just working it through the mixture. It's going to get pretty thick, but that's okay as long as the lumps are out. That's exactly what we want. So I'm taking my time and I'm whisking it in. It's going to get thick, and then I'm going to thin it out. And you just want to keep working it through until you get it all. And now I've added some more cream to it, which was another fourth of a cup. And now I'm just drizzling in some lemon juice, some freshly squeezed lemon juice. And I'm adding my Cajun spice to it, some salt, some pepper, a little bit of red pepper, cayenne pepper. And I'm just mixing it in now. And you also want to taste this sauce for seasoning. Because we mixed in that tablespoon of hollandaise sauce, it could have a powdery taste to it. You want to cook that taste out, and you also want to make sure, that it tastes good. Off camera, I added a fourth of a cup of dry white wine as well to that sauce, and I let it reduce and it became thick. So now here in this skillet, what I have is our our Cajun rice is in this pan around the circle. And now what I'm doing is I'm placing our butterfly shrimp on top of that rice mixture. And I'm just going to go around the pan with the shrimp, and then we're going to stuff it. So my stuffing has come out of the refrigerator and it's cool now. So I'm, just grabbing a little bit of stuffing and kind of pushing it in together, and then I'm placing it on top of the shrimp. My oven is preheated to 350, and once we're done with this step, we're going to put it in the oven and we're going to cook it on 350 for 15 to 20 minutes, because everything in this skillet is pretty much done except for the shrimp, and we don't want to overcook the shrimp. So here it is, and here's the finished product. I also made some garlic, butter, green beans, and I'll show you the recipe for that on another video. Here we're drizzling over our sauce on top of the shrimp. We're going to add a little bit to the bottom as well, so that every bite is full of this creamy, delicious Cajun shrimp. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you make this dish.